innocent of all charges.
You're listening to Talking Elvis with Vince Wright and Ian Gray.
Hello, welcome to the podcast. Bit different this one. We recorded this quite a while back. It's Ian's review of my book, as you'd expect. I've got to get my publicity in. We recorded this, but at the time we didn't put it out because I was doing a lot of other podcasts and generally touting for business on my book. So I thought we'd put it out in its entirety this week. So this is Ian telling me about my book.
So one of us has been busier than the other.
Right, yes. Well, you had all of Netflix to watch. So that was going to take some time, wasn't it?
It was a bit of time, yes, indeed.
Yeah,
yes.
But you did it, didn't you?
I got there eventually. I just finished off last Thursday.
Yeah. And I went off and wrote a book, as we might remember from a previous episode. So I've written a book, which is now a real thing, a proper, real book you can have in your hands.
It is indeed, yes, yeah. If you go back to episode 42, folks, then you'll hear the lead up to this, and you'll probably think at the time, yeah, right, he's going to do that. Of course he ain't.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have put money on it either.
But from episode 42 to episode 45, it's true. He's done it.
It's out there. I've done it. It's available from your good Elvis dealers or from me at 8milelvis.com. All over the world. Come and get it. It's great. But you've read it, haven't you?
I have read it, and I have not discussed it with you at all, have I?
This is quite scary.
So I've got you on edge here.
I've seen reviews, and I've had some very nice reviews. Thank you very much. And we've got different people, haven't we? Because we've got 8mil people, we've got Elvis people, and then we've got 8mil Elvis people, and then we've got just Elvis people who don't have a clue what 8mil is.
Mm. And I was one of them.
You were, weren't you?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. So I really didn't know.
So it arrived in the post. Was it bigger or different to what you thought, or?
It was slightly heavier than I thought it might be. I don't know why. I felt that. I've seen obviously the pictures leading up to the launch. We did a book launch in January, February.
Oh, we went to Hot Shots, didn't we?
We did a book launch there.
Book launch. It was a drink as much Guinness as you can day, wasn't it?
Something like that. Yes, and got me groovy mitts on a prototype, hadn't I, at the time? But then I got the real deal through the post a couple of weeks later. And yes, very nice, glossy hardback.
I did go posh because I thought I'm going to write one book in my life, so it's got to be the book I want. And because I'm the 8mil anorak, it had to be the Bible. It had to be the one you don't muck about. I could have done a paperback. I could have done it half the price. And that may have affected my sales, but it's a quality piece of kit.
It's a lovely book. It's the same sort of size and shape of an 8mm movie box that you get. So really good.
So I think for the non-believers of 8mil, it's very much like one of the Follow That Dream box sets.
100%, yes.
Yeah, it's that sort of size.
Yes, indeed. So it'll fit nicely on your bookcase, along with your Follow That Dreams. There you go. Mine's autographed, which is good because it'll add value to it when you
Elvis signed it.
Somebody signed it. I'm willing to believe it's the actual person who wrote it, but you got a stamp, haven't you? Just went bang, bang, bang. Yeah. So that's good. I like the contents, the table of contents, all Elvis songs.
Yeah, I was a bit anarchy on that. I really, and they were in jokes and they're funny bits, and if it's one of those. If you get it, you get it, and if you don't, you don't. It doesn't matter. But yes, thank you for that.
I think if you're going to do something like this, you've got to write it in how you talk it.
Yeah.
Simple as otherwise you lose that sort of personality behind the book. So that's pretty good. I like the foreword. I like the foreword by Jed Jones of Duran.
Yes, good man.
That was quite good, but I completely missed the point in the first time I read it through because I thought the logo at the bottom of the page was for a well-known furniture store. And not many people are going to get that one unless they've got the book.
Yeah.
I've got lots of notes here, so I'm going through these notes. Any excuse to mention Annette Day, page 2.
I was surprised she wasn't on the cover. I think if I'd have got some really glossy 10x8s, I'd have done it. But our Kodak Instamatic when we met her, they were only so good.
I think you took them on a 35mm one, didn't you? At least it wasn't a 110 or anything like
that. I stood in boots for 3 hours waiting for them to come back.
Right, without giving too much away as well with the book, the first chapter is great because it's an actual explanation. Before you get into the Elvis bit, it's an explanation of what 8mm film is. Because I apart from little conversations with you over the years, I hadn't got a clue. I didn't know, for example, that the film sizes, if you gave him feet, only included so many minutes of the film. I just thought that when you got an 8mm film or any sort of movie, you just got a bit like a cinema. You just got a big plonk of tape and you put it in your machine and you watched it for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I didn't realise you'd have to do about 3 or 4 different tapes to get a film in or something.
You imagine these, you're just buying, because they were so dear, you're just buying 20 minutes of blue and white, 20 minutes of change of habit. It was quite amazing, quite an amazing hobby. But when you didn't know any different, anything was better than nothing.
Well, I guess so, because we didn't have the multimedia that you have these days.
Well, that's the big thing. I do find that younger people I've talked to about this, it's like, well, why would I do that? Why would I pay 25 quid for 3 minutes of Elvis doing this?
Yeah.
3 minutes when I can watch pretty much anything and everything on YouTube.
Yeah. It's quite something. But there we go. That was educating me anyway. That was good. I do like the pictures of advertisements.
And it's of its time, isn't it? 60s and 70s, 80s even adverts are so nostalgic for us, but there's that great element of cheese, isn't there?
Oh yeah, I mean it's like any magazines or newspapers. The classifieds were almost better than the news articles in wherever you're looking at. I think it's because the pictures were almost. It seems like there must have been.
I wanted all the marketing.
Yeah. There must have been some sort of template that they used for every single advert in those days, because all the writing looked the same. You got the same strange pictures, all the same format.
That's always funny, isn't it? Those are a little joy, but that's it. And that's how you bought them. Not at first, not every town had a shop. Then, of course, every chemist shop was selling 8mm films. But like we had it. I don't know, blockbusters at the prime time of video, and you'd go and pick your films. You had little shops like that, or the rental libraries on not online, in the post. Get your postal order sent off.
That was bizarre. That was when I read that. It was like, what, you actually sent off for something and they trusted you to send it back?
Yeah.
What's all that about?
Give us 3 shillings and 6pence, and you can have this for 4 days. Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy, and that's again, it's. I remember stuff like this as I was reading. It was bringing memories into my head.
I really have been very, very personal with stories, and I think there's a lot of us Elvis collectors of a certain age, and we lived exactly the same, didn't we? We collected, we bought, we lived in the same sort of areas. We had that same life, didn't we?
Indeed, we did. Yeah. You didn't have eBay. You couldn't buy something from Graceland. You had to physically go and buy something at an Elvis exhibition.
Yeah.
Or when you went to an Elvis night, if somebody sold you a dodgy 17 times recorded cassette tape of a concert from 1975 and stuff like this, So, we lived in a very different world. You had to physically go out there and get your Elvis stuff, and that was also part of it. And also spending hours in W.H. Smith's, just browsing the magazines. Oh, anything with a picture of Elvis. There we go. I love that.
That's it. Yeah.
And yeah, then you go in
I used to
every fourth
always,
Friday for your monthly and all that sort of stuff, you know.
Oh, that was a good one. I still got them all. But I love that. I'd forgotten about that. When you went into Smith's or whatever it was you had locally. And I used to go, will I buy The Enemy, Sounds, or Melody Maker?
Yeah.
And the first scan would look for anything Elvisy, and often there wasn't. And then you'd have to go, so what's my next choice?
Yeah.
What other sort of music did I like then, and what else did I do? And I'd always buy one, and then you might find an advert at the back going, Elvis Imports, £3.25 for a Pickwick from America. Yeah,
Absolutely. And this book is there's plenty of it in this book, which I absolutely love. I think it's fantastic.
thank you.
Even the non-Elvis stuff, the non-Elvis movies that you can see there. There's a great one of King Kong on there, which I absolutely love because I love the King Kong story.
Yeah, I'm really self-indulgent with extra pictures like that.
I think it's absolutely superb. And there's also another one there from where is it, from Ken's films, Danish Delights. I thought, well, I'll have to get my hands on that one.
Yeah, I mean, you have to remember there was a very big market, and I'm going to say glamour. I'm not
Yes.
going to use any other words at the time.
Adult glamour.
Adult glamour. Yes, I mean that was a very big 8mm seedy little world that you could get. So I always remember at Duran when people bought collections in. You go, I've got these train films and a couple of cartoons and Gone with the Wind and a bit of Blue for the Deads.
It's on the top shelf or under the counter, wasn't it? One of them?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I love all that. So it's not just about it's about the 8mm world rather than the 8mm Elvis world as well, which is great because you've got the hook, which is Elvis, haven't you? But then you're brought into the other world of ordinary other stuff, like other movies and stuff like that. And I've started following I think is it Ken Films 8mm.
You are now
on
right.
Facebook because it's just fascinating stuff. Yeah, and it's down to this book. It really is.
And there's a few other books that my database of resources. I've got so many catalogues and so many of everything else, and books about 8mm that I kept getting lost because I'd be going, I'm looking for Elvis. I'm looking for, oh, look at these Laurel and Hardys. Oh, right, I'll just read that for an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm sucked in going, oh, look at that. They've got them their hills. Oh, that's good. So, yeah.
Great. Really
the 8mm world is great. And the difference between legal and pirate is a lovely little a little window into how naive we were, I think.
I mean, it's like Thunderbird film's been shut down by the FBI, isn't it? It's Tom Donahoe. I thought, what a great story that is. It's just fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I love, if I could find out about the companies as much as I could as well, because I worked for Duran in Dudley, but I didn't work for Red Fox or anything. But I can imagine the same stories going on. And some of these dodgier end of the market, trailers are a bit sort of, are they public domain? Are they, let's play.
Yeah, what can you use? Yeah.
Yeah, and then they just go, no, let's blatantly just put this out.
And you know what? I didn't know even that Ian Bailey supplied some of the footage for This Is Elvis. I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, that was a great. I remember that when he issued some footage and he got the Sinatra show in swap, and he thankfully, when I was researching for this, he gave me access to documents and things for that. So I was very, very lucky to get all that.
I mean, there's a picture on page 14 of the book, which is not credited. It's assumed that it came from Ian Bailey because of the story that's surrounding it. So I think solicitors will be in touch about that one, which is fine.
What's that one?
A picture on page 14. There's no credit for it, but it's surrounding the Ian Bailey story, and This Is Elvis.
Oh, right.
So,
Oh, that one. Yes. Does it look a bit like a sort of album cover kind of
Yes,
thing?
it does indeed, yes.
I would thought it might have been like a Follow That Dream cover.
Every chance.
Yeah. They're worth a fortune now, those are. If you know
Uncredited.
anybody that's got one, I'll give you £6 now.
Uncredited, so we'll have a look at that one.
Yeah. I was a bit slow there, but well done.
Indeed, yeah. I was a bit slow as well. I didn't get a mentions page till on page 134, for goodness sake. So yeah, the bottom line for me on this book is just it's a new world for me, even though it is the original old world.
Well, I called it the forgotten format, and I didn't at first. When all my drafts and everything, I was very much the home cinema years, and that was going to be my title. And the more I dug and deep and talked to people, it was like forgotten. And every Elvis book and every Elvis magazine, they either ignored it or it was a couple of pages at the end.
Yeah.
And it was lovely, but it was kind of, here they are, there they were, that's it. And I've gone into greater detail on it and put all the covers that I could possibly find. A lot of it is my personal collection. I have had things from anybody and everybody, and I've kind of kept it a little bit sort of scrapbooky.
Yeah.
That if somebody's taken a picture of that on their kitchen table at a wonky angle, I can't really crop it and put it any better, so it looks better lying on a surface. So I was quite pleased with that, how that came out, and the layout was me. So yeah,
so how many of these actual physical films have you got? How many of these actual boxes have you got in your collection, do you think?
I don't know about a number.
No, roughly.
Like all the Viacoms, I've got all the big feature Viacoms, all the Kens in the different versions, the plastic and the card boxes.
So have you still got your projector as well?
Well, I sold my old projector.
Right.
So when I got back into this, I managed to get hold of a nice Elmo, what do you call it, reconditioned.
Oh, right.
Because it's all analog and belts and cogs. So I had to buy myself another one because I hadn't shown them for years. Really, this thing came about during COVID. I had a new roof put on, and when I cleared the loft, I found boxes of notes. So every film I'd bought, all my handwritten letters and the handwritten letters from the people I bought them from the 80s and 90s, were in this box, and catalogues and everything else. And of course, then I just went nuts online, and you can talk to somebody in Venezuela, and you're going, wow, I would never have known he existed without the internet.
Yeah.
And he's going, did you know this cover was available here? And here's a Spanish version you might not have seen. And you're going, wow. So I've included. I'd love somebody to tell me these 10 things you missed and do a volume 2. The things that people say you've missed, they're going, well, here's a white box. So a lot of it wasn't like the LP world. It wasn't posh covers. It was happy to be in a white box with a rubber stamp on it.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't want 100 extra pages of white boxes.
No.
But for the artwork, I mean, it was 2-color, keep the cost down. But I think it's an exciting little world.
And did you actually get to play some of these movies as a when you finished writing all your notes down? Did you actually just whack it on for an hour or two here and there?
I had to watch stuff. I mean, luckily, Neil Williams, all praise to the great one, give us an A, was instrumental in getting showing me stuff early on. So things that I hadn't got that I could just go, do you remember what was on this? Do you remember what was on that? And and he'd say, oh, you what about this one? So he was a good help. So sort of him and Jed have been amazing to get me on the way.
That's fantastic. It really is good. I mean, it's like you mentioned like your own personal notes and letters that you sent off. You've included there a newsletter from Duran, haven't you?
Yeah.
Which is really good because that is just like we used to wait on these things. We used to join whatever club, like the Chipper Club or the Tufty Club or the Elvis.
I was a member of both of those, yeah.
Or the Elvis Presley fan club or whatever, or local ones who actually sent out in the post typewritten newsletters. You didn't get any emails in those days. And when these envelopes dropped through your door, it was brilliant.
You had to sit there.
It was actually something to look forward to, wasn't it?
I remember some of these wonky typed ones. I'd basically have a little wooden ruler, proper old school ruler. And, I'd line them up and here we go in. They've got this for £4, they've got this for £9, and you've got this for £10. And being a kid, I've got a budget.
Yeah.
So if I'm there going, I've got £15 to spend this month,
Yeah.
I'm going, well, if I get the £3, the £4, and the £7 one, oh, I've gone a bit over budget. And they were, oh, what have I done here? And that was so exciting because you could go out today and buy an 8mm collection. If money's no object for you, you could just go not YouTube, what's it called? eBay. eBay seems to think that everything is now worth a fortune. And there's people saying, I've got this, it's £90. And I go, I'll give you 20. And they say no. And funnily enough, it's still there. Months after, it's still sitting.
Yeah, people have become desperate since the pandemic, haven't they?
Yeah. but it's worth what it's worth.
Yeah.
So I still bought it. Since the book, I had some nice standard 8 stuff turn up. I was offered at a decent rate. White box specials, but black and white, silent. That's the way it is. So patch it up from that's the way it is, in black and white, silent. And people, we're appalled by that now, aren't we? But you imagine if somebody told you in 78 you can watch patch it up at will.
Yeah. It is amazing, isn't it? It's like, I actually want to see something like that these days because everything is perfect. As you know, everything's been remastered, everything's been touched up where possible, and all that sort of stuff, which is great to see. And we've seen these things with Nick, haven't we? In Oldbury as well. Nick Dad we were talking about here. And to see somebody like him playing around with it for hours and hours and hours, trying to get it to the best possible quality so he can show it in public, stuff like that. But it would be nice, wouldn't it, just to, project an image onto your fridge, and watch a silent black and white version of Elvis singing something. Well, we think it's patched up, but we don't know.
Yeah.
So that would be amazing. I think something like that would be amazing to see, to be honest with you.
I think, but it's this world of that fascinates us.
Yeah.
But people would still rather go and see an ETA.
I know.
Fill a room with an ETA.
Indeed.
And Nick's film shows, they should have been queuing around the block. I'm so excited for them.
That was a thoroughly enjoyable afternoon. It really was. And give people like Nick the credit for actually taking the time, to sync all this stuff up together and get it. It's a labour of love. So no doubt about that.
So that is an important thing you bring up there. That in my book, because I'm trying to cover the whole 8mm world, I have talked about the sold out DVDs. I've talked about Nick's events.
Yeah.
I've talked about little clubs and little organisations of people trading stuff and copying for each other. So I really have hopefully included the lot.
Yeah.
So
I think.
So what's your view at the end overall?
Overall, well, I have written a little review here, which I'll post somewhere. If you know nothing,
on the website if you want.
I will do that. Yeah, I will send it to you. Overall, I think that if you knew nothing about Elvis on 8mm film or about the world of 8mm altogether, then this is the book to read. It doesn't tie you up in technical aspects of it, which you can't understand because it's explained very clearly and very simply to you. Yes, I know it's a bit of a simple format, but if you've never had any experience of it, then
you need to know about your glycooxytonic phosphate, don't you?
Absolutely, of course you do. Yes. And I think the first part of the book covers that superbly well. So when you get through the book and you bring up one or two of these phrases again, then you've already learnt about them, so you know what you're reading. And I think that was great. And all credit to you, Mr. Wright. I think you've done an absolute belter here, to be fair. And I'm not just saying that because you're my mate and you've sent me an autographed copy. So I think it's fascinating. And like I say, I am fascinated. I wouldn't now. You see the back of the K's catalogue pictures and that you put in there as well. I remember those because I always thought that was beautiful those pages with all the projectors and the film stuff and whatnot. I could never afford them myself, of course, but it was great to look at them and wonder what I could have done with something like that. Now, I still wouldn't go out and buy a projector for an 8mm or a 16mm film or anything like that. But I understand it now.
Well, you look at those 41 quid for 20 minutes of Change of Habit, and then VHS come out, and for 38 quid you could buy the whole Aloha.
Yeah. So you
can see how it killed it.
It has definitely piqued my interests in the format, and especially as it's Elvis based, and we're Elvis fans, aren't we? That's superb, and I'm delighted that you've done this and done it so well. Like you said earlier, it's not a half-assed job; it's a proper job. It's a properly done book. It's a book certainly that anybody who's any type of Elvis collector should have on their bookshelves, I think, because as you've said, you were waiting for years for somebody to write a book about it, and they didn't, so you did. So here it is, folks. Here it is. Put it in your collection. That's all I can say. Look, there's my copy there. Look, there we go.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So I can't speak highly enough of this. So thank you, and I think you owe me a pint.
I do, and I better say out loud here. Did you see the dedication to Sue?
I did. Yes.
Well, yes. She proofed it and edited it and everything else with me. So I've got to give her a lot of credit for that.
Fantastic.
Because,
yeah, well done.
There's apostrophes in all the right places.
Yeah, brilliant. No, absolutely. Yeah, it's they do say behind every man there's a strong woman or something like that, don't they? So
nagging.
Patience of a saint, pal. Patience of a saint. Put up with you for all these years, and then
we'd ruin another couple.
And when you're into the time of life where you should be sort of just settling down into old age and looking forward to all that time you're going to spend doing things you haven't done, and all of a sudden you come up to and say, "Hold on, I got an idea." And the raised eyebrows that I see from the other side of the room, that's all.
Oh God, yes. Oh yeah.
So yeah, you're never too young, never too old, or anything.
No,
like that. So,
I say write that book. I'm sure there's a Villa book inside you.
There should be something inside me, yes, indeed. So yeah, there's something somewhere. I have these pipe dreams of ideas. Well, yeah, I could do that. I could do that. I could do that, and I never do. But and you thought the same, but then you did it. So well done. So there's hope for us all yet.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, I mean that's a bit of an ego trip for me. I've loved that, and I do genuinely believe in this book, and I do want people to buy it. And it's not a cheap, rubbishy thing. And it is, one you can thumb through without it falling apart. So, 8milelvis.com, get it there, get it from your main dealer. If you're interested in buying and selling it yourself, I'm quite happy to do your bulk discounts. I'm an advert here, basically. More the merrier. Get them out there.
And if you do buy the book and have a look through it, you'll see all the Elvis song titles on there. You go to Spotify and find a playlist called 8mm Elvis.
Yes, thank you for doing that. I forgot about that. I came back from Milton Keynes yesterday, and I had that on the way back. That was very good.
So yeah.
So there it was, a nice little small episode. Obviously me plugging the book as usual. If you are interested, don't forget it's 8mm Elvis, 8mm Elvis, ELVIS.com. Google it, it's all there. I have gone a bit nuts on promotion on this one. Thanks very much if you helped me or you have bought it so far. It has gone all over the world. But please do get in touch if you want any more information about this. See you at one of the movie fairs coming up around the country. If not, just drop us a line. Thanks very much.
Find us at www.talkingelvis.co.uk or Facebook or YouTube or Spotify. In fact, any place you get your podcasts.